You have to love Shangri-La Frontier. I mean, just the way they go about actually making a VR MMORPG actually feel like it's as realistic as the characters in questions are saying. Because often when you get these types of shows, they're always like, ooh man, it feels like this is reality. We can really do whatever we want. But really, it's just characters unleashing generic sword attacks or magic blasts. But here, with Sunraku falling in an accidental meteorite strike through a teleporter spell combination, that's exactly how, if a game was actually as realistic as these characters like to make it out, that's how unexpectedly you could get a W. And just the way they're like, kind of almost like a parody of Arthur Pendragon with this player killer who's level 99. They teased us, I think it was in last episode. It seems like he's got quite the target on his head because he clearly has secrets about this game and people want answers, and it's gonna be exciting. But full live reaction, episode 5 of that Shangri-La Frontier greatness over on my Patreon if you would like to see that. It's over there if you're interested. Now, this was a pretty exciting episode. We go from our boy thinking he can solo everything to realizing that actually these NPCs and party members are pretty useful at the end of the day. Like, he would have lost to this boss fight 100% had he been alone or had he not actually accepted Emil's help, because what we end up having is, rather than just a generic cutesy anime blob who just talks a lot but doesn't really do a whole lot, no, like the initial magic attack to the teleport save, this character is actually rather useful. And the way the comedy in this show is great because they let the anime characters be really expressive, which you might be able to say, well, what's so exciting about that? I mean, a lot of anime have expressions. But we're dealing with mascot characters such as little bunny girls, and we have a guy in a mask. And a lot of times with these types of shows, when a character wears a giant bird mask, in the case of Sunraku, he's not going to really respond much because he has a mask on. But they let that mask stretch, the eyes go dead inside, they just have a lot of fun. But the idea that you also let this bunny apparently transform into humanoid form, and his initial reaction to seeing this was basically just like, it almost looked like he looked into the pits of hell and was just disappointed in what he was playing, and he basically calls it out for being a harem game. I thought he was gonna say it was like weeb trash or something like that, but his reaction was pretty great. But it does come in useful, as you can see. I mean, basically everyone and their mother thinks he's illegal, and I mean, he's forcing bunnies to run away with him, so getting turned away at the gates was pretty much all but guaranteed until she started to put on her charm. And then ultimately we saw where we ended up. We have one person who's basically just in love, wants to know how the hell did you tame a Vorpal bunny? I need one. And then we get the other Arthur who comes in and basically is like, it's PKing time, mofos. And it's interesting because I don't really know currently what the restrictions are to player killing. There's apparently an entire guild who does it. But ultimately, some games, they kind of have like safe areas like, okay, you can't do it inside towns or you can't do it inside certain safe areas. Right now, he's outside the gates, so maybe that's why, but either way, I'm excited to see what they do because we know he can't beat her. This isn't a show where the MC is unbeatable. I mean, if you look at the initial giant unique beast who completely screwed him over, yes, his luck stat saved his ass, and then we got the unique scenario that we ended up getting. But at the same time, you can look at the boss fight we did in this episode. He was very restricted. They used the terrain in an intelligent way by actually making it so he can't run around. Yeah, he had a couple of skills that allowed him to dash and dodge attacks, but those are on cooldowns. Without the help of his bunny pal, he would have died in this fight. He was literally falling to his death, and he wasn't going to survive. Like, there was an initial fall in this episode that did like a third of his health, because he has like 30 health points, and I think it did like 11 damage or something like that. This one was like even taller, and he was going to fall into the mouth of this giant beast, right? Like, our boy, while very talented and thinks outside the box, he dies. He is not indestructible, and going up against a level 99 player killer, you best have that speak ability up to level 99, because otherwise I don't know how the hell you're going to convince this player not to cut you down. But then again, it might be a situation where, hey, I'll stop the other player killers from screwing with you if you give me the information. That could be the direction as well. It does seem like this will be one of the main side characters or supporting characters, so time will tell with where we go. But you gotta admit, this actually does feel like a living and breathing MMO in a way, right? You have such unique character designs. Like the last few minutes of this episode prior to the credits starting, because there's always like the goofy little gags after the end of the episode, which are fun. I like the fact that they're not chibi other than like the initial starting slate. Like they keep the same art style as the general episode, so they feel a little more important than a lot of the episodes or kind of like anime that use like, silly moments after the credits. These ones actually feel a little more thought out in my opinion. But my point is that we get like a rapid fire of a lot of character designs. Characters who are probably going to try to jump our boy, characters who might become allies. There's a lot of characters, and this isn't all just going to pop up next episode. This is stuff that's going to like remain for the remaining 20 episodes based on what I'm seeing. And that's a really good sign going forward. Like, I love the fact that everything about this feels thought out. Like, we force a character who is essentially a glass cannon build. 1 or 2 attacks from any powerful monster would probably kill Sunraku. He's very strong and he's quite talented, he thinks outside the box, but as we see, throw him in a environment that basically makes it so he can't run, and he's slogging. He's basically barely walking, and he has to go up against something that apparently can dive under as if it's completely deep water, but really it looks like it's maybe a foot, 2 feet deep at best. And there's so much about that fight, whether it is him just thinking outside the box to, honestly, the most impressive thing is how the combination with these two ended up doing like this mistake meteor strike that crushed its skull in. The idea of falling to your death, having Rabbit come in, do a teleport, redirect you, it's so good because it uses all that initial force and then the new force as an attack, and it's so brilliant how they think outside the box. But I really do like, I think the best part of it overall isn't just simply that the combat feels like someone who understands game development or how to play a video game, and how if you really could have this complex, you can do anything you want. This is how action should go. The best part still is the simple moments like, okay, we have a character in a video game, so we have Sunraku, who is doing things that people who have been playing this game for months, if not years, are like, what the hell is this? Why does he look like that? That wasn't in the character creation. Why does he have an ally that no one's ever seen before? Like, they casually say that apparently only dogs and cats are basically companions in terms of animal-like companions, and yet this dude has a Vorpal bunny. What the hell? Everyone's gonna target him, whether because it's cute or because they're like, that looks powerful, or I want to go down that quest line. What the hell do you know? It paints a pretty big target on a boy who already is pretty restricted in the grand picture of the game design, let alone adding players who are either bloodthirsty or just outright curious. And that's really cool. This is a really, really good show. The more I watch, the more I enjoy. It's insane how consistent the production is. Like, this is definitely an anime that had time to cook in the oven, because there hasn't been a single moment so far over these now 5 episodes that feel like they struggled one bit. And you normally would see some struggles by this point if there was going to be any in a 2-core production. But this was very good. I like what they're doing with, honestly, side characters, whether that is NPCs who feel alive and breathing, or what they're establishing with other players, especially with PKing players, and that is rather exciting. But let me know what you thought of this pretty great Shangri-La episode down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more videos to the channel. And like I mentioned, we have a full live reaction over on my Patreon if you're interested, and hey, while you're there, you also get a video shout out. So today we have Nolan Palmer, Sign, and Teeny Bopper, so I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.